Godzilla Minus One rocked theaters when it premiered just a few years ago. It wowed audiences and really restored faith that the King of the Monsters can tackle a cinematic experience once again. We've all been waiting for an announcement of a sequel, and at last, we finally have confirmation that a Godzilla Minus One follow up is in production.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the
Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Berry. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and if you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. I remember seeing Godzilla Minus One in the theaters. It was a fantastic experience. It is such a fantastic movie and one that pays honor to the Kaiju who is known as the King of the Monsters. For my American listeners, Kaiju just is a word for giant monster. Basically, it's a Japanese word for ginormous creature that attacks you, which is Godzilla. Now, typically, I prefer films where Godzilla is an anti hero. That's just my personal taste, nothing against any other films. However, Godzilla Minus One restores him to a force of nature that can potentially be lethal and is lethal toward humanity. It was a fantastic tale of a kamikaze pilot who never got through his mission and instead came face to face with Godzilla, or Gojira as he's known in Japanese. And it has an incredible lineup of characters. It really kind of tapped on government inefficiency in handling situations like Godzilla, and even showed how just citizens have to come together to defeat something so monstrous. And we were waiting around for years, hoping that a sequel would be announced. The director of Godzilla Minus One said he was approached to do another Godzilla film, but would not confirm that it was a sequel to Minus One. Well, now we officially have confirmation. This is according to MSN.com. A sequel to Godzilla Minus One is officially underway and with a much larger budget this time around. According to Variety, director Takashi Yamazaki confirmed at the Visual Effects Society Awards, where he took home the Visionary Award, that he's currently working on the screenplay and storyboards for the new Godzilla movie. Yamazaki also added that the new pick would have a more budget this time around from Toho, though an exact figure was not given. The sequel was first announced in November 2024, though it was not specified if the upcoming film would continue Minus One's story or tell a new one. Godzilla Minus One was made for just $15 million, won the Oscar for Best Visual Effects at the 96th Academy Awards. The pick also took home 8 awards at the 47th Japan Academy Film Prize. Yamazaki wrote and directed the film, which currently holds a near perfect 99% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And then it goes on to talk a lot more about the film. It names the cast and gives a little bit more backstory to Godzilla Minus One. A lot of people accuse those of us on YouTube or Rumble who are in the pop culture sphere of being overly negative. Well, there's two reasons for that. The first is you all seem to like negativity. Those videos do way better than how excited we are about something. And an example of this is I did a video talking about how excited I was for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, the video game. Butt kiss on that one. Barely made a dent in my algorithm. I talked about Meghan Markle and all the shenanigans she's into. It explodes. That is why this happens. So I'm making this video to tell you I'm excited for Godzilla Minus One. The first film was fantastic, and I have to say I liked it better than Shin Godzilla. Shin Godzilla was doing this weird thing where Godzilla would elongate his jaw, like it would almost open a black hole and it would blast his atomic breath that way. And I felt like the effects with Godzilla Minus One, despite being so low budget compared to Shin Godzilla, was really well done. I guess the Shin series wasn't as successful as Toho was hoping because Shin Godzilla, Shin Kamen Rider, and then several other films were supposed to come out and be connected to that Shinverse where it would be all the heroes of the film franchise coming together to fight Godzilla. At least that's what the rumors were. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what the rumors were saying. That never really materialized. In fact, they only did 3 films in the Shin universe. So then comes along Godzilla Minus One. And by the way, I'm not saying Shin Godzilla was a bad film. I appreciated its attempt to bring Godzilla back into sort of the horror genre, whereas Godzilla Minus One, yes, it has a lot of horror elements, but it's also a very human drama about the effects of World War II and what it had on Japan, as well as Godzilla being sort of this force of nature as opposed to a lesson to humanity about weapons. I do like that aspect of it. He represents our greatest fears, this idea of a force, an unstoppable force that can possibly triumph over the human will. And I really like that aspect of it. And of course, they got the roar right, and that's the most important thing to me. It's true. If I watch a Godzilla movie and they do not get the roar right, that instantly is negative in my opinion. But all that to say, I am excited for a Godzilla Minus One sequel. I don't know what they're going to call it. Maybe Godzilla Minus Two, maybe Godzilla Plus One, maybe simply Godzilla 2. There's never been a Godzilla 2. He's always given a subtitle of some kind or a versus. So maybe this time they can just simply call it Godzilla 2. Toho, if you're watching, take this, with a grain of salt. I'm just a Godzilla fan. I love Godzilla. I think he is the king of the monsters. He is one of the greatest film franchises to come out of Japan. One of the greatest. I'm not saying the greatest, but definitely one of the greatest. And I look forward to seeing this film when it premieres in the United States of America. So I really hope that the film process goes well, that it goes smoothly, and that we get another epic Godzilla film where we see the king of the monsters return from the depths of the ocean. If you like that video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment, tell me what you think, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. It's a great way to support the channel. Another way you can support the channel is by heading over to my website, studiojakemedia.substack.com, where you can subscribe there at different tiers and you get different perks for those tiers. And I want to thank you in advance for doing that. And if you're wondering what's there, I've got a lot of articles about things like Godzilla, film, television, anime, video games, and so much more. You're not going to want to miss it. Another way you can support me is by checking out my books. I've got 4 out right now with more on the way. I've got Cacophony, A Tale of Faith and Fear. It is a supernatural thriller about a group of angels who are battling demons for the souls of a small Texas town. If you like any sort of paranormal activity in your books, this is the one for you. If you're more into fairy tales and magic and sword and dragons, check out the Seven Royal series. Book 1 is All Good Things. Book 2 is Breaking the Stars. It is about a group of your favorite fairy tale characters who have to come together to fight a dark army of vampires, orcs, and evil mages, plus so much more in order to keep their kingdoms free. You're going to want to get both of these, and I guarantee you, book 3 is on its way. I will not George R.R. Martin this series. Last but definitely not least is my fantasy romance novella, Blessed Child. This follows an elf princess who discovers she is pregnant with a human baby. This sends her kingdom into chaos, and her father, the king of the elves, hires a disgraced knight who is on the path of redemption to be her bodyguard, and the two form an unlikely friendship as they navigate the turmoil around them. It is life affirming, it is about courage under fire, and I guarantee you, you're not going to want to miss it. Pick this one up or all 4 at Amazon.com. Leave me a 5-star review. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. And if you want to find out more about my books, head on over to studiojakemedia.locals.com, where you can also read my short stories and poems, as well as my thoughts on writing in general. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.
Cause I've been living life right like I